Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. So, CookieCast is a football podcast, and just Paul and Stu for this one, and it's a quick one. You all know what I'm talking about. That's right, the boys here, they're talking football, games gone, games to come, and the current situation in all football news and football-related stuff. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Obviously, the one we like, the big one. Share that podcast around. If you enjoy the football, you might know somebody who enjoys the football, and they might enjoy a football podcast. This could be the one for them. Send it their way. They might actually love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, football podcast.
Oh, hi guys. Didn't see you come in there. Welcome back to another week of football-based nonsense right here on the CookieCast podcast network. For those of you joining us on the YouTube, you'll see two happy smiling faces staring straight back at you. Sadly, Mr. Matthew Moore still unavailable to join us to bring a forest-flavoured twinge to the podcast, and what a week for him to miss. You know, it's not like they've sacked their manager and signed a new one or anything like that. So I'm sure we'll get his thoughts before the end of the season. But yes, just for now, it's just myself and Hull's finest, Mr. Stuart Woodmansey, taking you through the ups and downs, ins and outs of everything Hull and Borough based. And unfortunately, we do have to start with last week's games. So let's just rip that plaster straight off and go straight in at where the shenanigans that took place at the MKM Stadium on Friday night in what appeared to be fairly torrential downpour. Was it as bad as the rain for that Middlesbrough game where it was coming down in sheets?
It wasn't the rain that was the issue. It was the swirling wind and the 3 full mouthfuls of snow that I got. We had a little bit of everything in this game. It was dry to start. Then it hoyed it down with rain. Then we got the swirling snowstorms. And then we got absolutely done over. So, a bit of a spoiler alert there. I suppose I've gone too soon. But it was set up on it. It was the occasion game. It was the tie of the round for the sentimental, in the sense of it was our old manager and one of our old players coming back to see what they could do with their new side against the new and very much improved Hull City. However, to me and to my mind, Sergei got this one right in terms of he didn't put out all of the new and improved Hull City. He decided to go with a few changes to make sure we got through the game as sort of unscathed injury-wise as we possibly could. No Ollie McBurney at all in the squad. No Charlie Hughes at all in the squad. Charlie Hughes had been playing with a bit of a groin injury for the last 3 weeks, so that one was kind of sensible. Ollie McBurney, I suggest, is club's top scorer. The cup wasn't really a priority, so wrap him up in cotton wool for a week and stuff some of it in his potty mouth as well whilst you're there. Says this guy. Come on, we've all been here. It wasn't just Hull that made changes though. Aside from those two not being in the team, we had a player that Paul will be very familiar with. Cahill McCarthy, young centre-half, came on against Middlesbrough after Ryan Giles got injured in the Borough game. At Borough, he got booked within. He got booked within 30 seconds and then really settled down.
Yes,
he started. We played 3 centre-halves and 2 wing-backs, as has been the preferred system of late. So he slotted in there nicely. We had a change of keeper. Dylan Phillips coming in for Ivo Pandor. Phillips played in the tie against Blackburn, so we kind of expected that one. more to come on that particular decision. And we also had Lewis Kumas starting up front as well. As you can imagine, the Chelsea team was billed as their second string, but still one of their players cost more than the entire of our squad, plus half again, probably. Well, Hull did set up to play on the counter. It started off all right. They held their own for a fair while. Liam Miller had a decent chance early on before the old boy rule very, very nearly came into effect. Really slack clearance from Phillips in goal. For some reason, all night he wanted too long on the ball, and there was a lot where it was very, very close to being, having his pocket picked. But this particular one, as he cleared it, ricocheted back off Liam Delap and into the goal. But thankfully, only half of the ball crossed the line after it had hit the crossbar. No goal given. So Delap didn't score. But he still had a pretty good night because overall he went on to notch 3 assists over the course of the game. He played the pass to Neto, who took a quick touch, get the ball out of his feet, and then a really powerful shot into the bottom right-hand side of the goal from the edge of the area. That was on 40 minutes to make it 0-1 just before half-time. And as I say, really, other than the ricochet, Hull had done all right. They weren't terrible. Chelsea kind of looked like a side that were there to dominate possession, but fluffed the lines 2 or 3 times in the final third, I would suggest, in that first half. Didn't really do that in the second half, unfortunately for me. Neto scored directly from a corner, which was a bit random, to make it 2-0 on 51 minutes. Delap then set up Estevao for 3-0, and then he set up Neto for his hat-trick on 59 minutes and 71 minutes, respectively. And at 4-0 down, Hull decided that we'll have another go again now. They waited, wanted to make sure that Chelsea got the handicap scoring in place before they started playing, clearly. And Kumas hit the post in the dying stages of the game, and that was as near as we ever got. So, good news for Chelsea. They advance in the FA Cup. Even better news for Chelsea. They have now got a plum away tie at the racecourse ground against Disney FC. I think I'm sure everybody's seen the reaction video to this by now, where Ryan Reynolds was like, "Can we have Chelsea? Can we have Chelsea? Can we have Chelsea?" Definitely not fixed, and absolutely not a shock that Chelsea then pop out of the bag. Strange one. Because it definitely wasn't fixed that Rossini got to come back to Hull either. But, I'll take my tinfoil hat off for the rest of the podcast. But the good news for Hull is that seemingly came through the game unscathed. We didn't really, not really bothered about the cup. I think if the season had been comfortably mid-table with nothing really going either way, they'd have probably have preferred a little cup run. But the way things are now, there's too much riding on them. Like they've got to make the playoffs at least, I think, is what they'll be looking for. And I think obviously any kind of cup run now could maybe scupper that somewhat. So despite the fact that the scoreline was pretty bad, it didn't really feel like the momentum of the team was sucked out, which is what I was slightly worried about. But yeah, it was an enjoyable night, aside from the scoreline. And yeah, job done, really.
Yeah, like you said, obviously, no one, I don't think anyone in that stadium from a Hull persuasion was thinking, "Oh yeah, this is our year to win the cup." So I don't think anyone went in thinking, "Oh, if we turn these over, it opens right up for us and stuff like that." So I don't think anyone would have walked away being particularly disappointed that they've been. I mean, 4-0 on paper sounds like a bit of a tanking and stuff like that, but
there was something like random as well during the game, and it wasn't a squirrel. Before you ask, there was an announcement made in the first half over the PA system about discriminatory chanting had been heard.
I saw that,
and I was in the stadium. I didn't hear anything of it, so It must have been very localised. In the second half, they put it up at half-time on the board, basically, don't be a wrong one. And in the second half, the announcement came over the tannoy that using the CCTV and the police in the stadium, they'd managed to locate whoever it was that had been doing it, and arrests had been made. Now, if from the wider football world this week, I'm pleased. I don't think it was anything to do with racial, like a racial sort of a racial sort of tinge to it. I don't think there was any of that. I think there, if anything, it was probably delving back into the archives for commenting potentially on the favourite pastimes of gentlemen from Chelsea that may have been the issue. However, it was dealt with very, very quickly to the point where neither manager knew anything about it, and they were obviously at the sideline of the pitch. I was in a stand amongst other people that were sort of chanting and singing and stuff, didn't hear anything about it, but they obviously saw fit to sort of act, and the people that have been found to do it, and so rightly so. And just let's not do that, please, because I don't want to have to talk about this every week.
Yeah, it's 2020. Well, I was about to say 2025. It's not even 2025. It's 2026, lads. Yeah, if we could, not do that, that'd be pretty good. Predictions wise, it's points. But not too many points because I only got one because I had a 3-1 Chelsea win and didn't pick any of the goal scorers. I had McBurney, Delap, Goo, and Garnacho. So at least one of those didn't even get in the squad. So that was never going to happen. Stu went one better and went for a 4-1 Chelsea, so almost got the score bang on. He had Gelhardt to score for Hull, Garnacho, Delap with 2, and Estevao. So he gets a bonus point for his goal scorer. So 1 point to me, 2 points to Stu, and sadly for me, that isn't the last we hear of a player playing against one of our teams scoring a hat trick, as that takes us to Monday night, and it was the battle of the top 2, or as it's known on Teesside and to the wider Middlesbrough supporting fellows, the annual trip to the humping station that is the CBS Arena. Yes, sadly for Borough, let's not beat around the bush here. They didn't win. They didn't get a draw. This was the 7th game in a row against Coventry that they lost. Oh dear. Kind of knew the writing was on the wall as early as about 100 seconds into the game as a ball in from the right-hand side found the head of Hadji Wright and he planted it firmly against the woodwork. That was the warning signs were there, and it took Borough a little bit of time to get to grips with the pace that Cov had started the game with. And they were made to pay on the 21st minute. Lovely feat from Sakamoto, who is another one of those guys who seems like he could be anonymous for like half the season, but the second he plays against the Borough, he turns into prime Messi or something like that because his little pirouette to get himself away from the Borough players ended up with him playing the ball into Jack Rodoni, who then played it across the box for Hadji Wright to bundle home from about 8 yards out to make it 1-0 to Coventry, 21st minute. Question marks over the keeping. Didn't look as if he'd set himself properly, so I don't know if he just misjudged the sort of the flight or the sort of the direction of the ball. But yeah, not ideal. 1-0 to Coventry. Borough tried to get back into the game. A couple of chances here and there. Cov probably should have scored. Ephraim Mason-Clark had a chance where he had the ball on the left-hand side of the box, opened his body out and tried to curl it in the far post. It went well wide. Borough did manage to get to half-time with it still being 1-0. And then almost a bit of a carbon copy in the start of the second half, but from a Borough perspective this time, a ball into the box. Morgan Whittaker planted his header from about 6 yards out straight over the bar, which would have been a nice way to start the second half. Borough had a couple more chances, but it was actually Coventry who took a 2-goal lead on the 55th minute. And it was as Route 1 as Route 1 gets. Kyle Rushworth played the ball out. Luke Ayling completely misjudged the flight of the ball, was asking for the keeper to come and clean up. He didn't get that message. Ayling did nothing. Haji Wright shrugged him off and stuck the ball in the back of the net to make it 2-0. Not great all round, I think it's safe to say. But did get back into it on the 67th minute when Ryan McGree took his effort quite nicely. The ball was sort of pinging around the box, found its way to the edge of the box where McGree was, and he just smashed it in from about 12, 14 yards out. And the tide did feel as if it was changing in Borough's favour there. They seemed like they got a bit of a grip on the game. They were pinning Coventry back. Coventry was starting to get a bit nervous. You could even sense that the atmosphere in the stadium was starting to change a little bit. So it was obviously the perfect time for Borough to give away a penalty as Cross little clipped the ball into the box. I'm trying to think who the guy was that played the ball now. I can't think. But anyway, the guy playing the ball in was being defended by Matt Target. He was being twisted up, turned around and stuff like that. And in trying to turn to block the ball, his arm has come out. The ball's been clipped in, caught him on the hand. Probably a correct decision to give a penalty. Sadly, just annoying for the timing that it was given on. 71 minutes in, ball gets given to the guy who scored the first two to wrap up his hat-trick, and he made no mistake from the penalty spot to make it 3-1 to Coventry and make me thoroughly hate having to ever play that team from the West Midlands ever again. So yes, are they the East Midlands? Yeah, I think they are the East Midlands. But yes, 7 wins on the spin for Coventry. Not ideal, not a great game. Too many Borough players are off it. Back to the drawing board, shall we say? Not a terrible loss. Obviously, like I said at the time last week, this one almost felt like a bit of a free hit in a way. Borough were top, clear by by 2 points. Sorry, so even in losing the game, they still only remain within 1 point of Coventry, and they can just sort of look to regroup with a perfect game this weekend against a team that's in the bottom 3. Points wise, it's again points all round. Stuart gone for a 1-0 win with Rodoni to score, so just gets a point for the result. I'd gone 2-1 with Sims, Conway, and Wright to get one of the goals for Coventry. So I get myself a bonus point there. So it's basically a reversal of the first game. I got 2 points, Stu got 1, which means that we both end the week on 3 points apiece. Is that our second? It is our second tie in the space of 2 weeks. Strange enough, 3 points apiece that week as well. So yes, just one bit of news from a Forest perspective before we move on. I don't think this was confirmed last week when we recorded, but they have in fact appointed a new manager to replace the outgoing Sean Dyche, and it is Vitor Pereira, the ex-Wolves manager, who was sacked at the start of the season because he'd done such a stellar job of keeping them winless and thoroughly ensconced in the bottom 3. I haven't really got Matt's sort of like opinion on this yet, but I can't imagine he's happy, to be honest with you. We'll have to see if we can get his thoughts and relay them to you. But keeping it Forest flavoured, moving into week 26, it brings 6 games with it, and the first of which is Fenerbahce versus Nottingham Forest in the playoff round of the Europa League. So obviously Matt's not here, so I can't give predictions. So I'll go in first. I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. I've gone for N'Golo Kante to score for Fenerbahce. Didn't even realise he was there. Thought he was still playing in Saudi. And then I've gone for Igor Jesus to get the goal for Forest. What have you got down, Stu, for Fenerbahce versus Forest?
Unfortunately, I have got a 1-0 Fenerbahce win.
Oh, no. No. Goal scorer?
Well, in the spirit of Mr. Moore.
Oh, no.
I have gone for Aktoglu.
Jesus Christ. Right, hang on.
I knew you'd enjoy this one.
Talk amongst yourselves.
It's more of a case for me at the moment with that result that there's a lot of turmoil in that side at the moment. Whether it's, as we've been discussing with Matt off air, whether it's like the players going into business for themselves, the merry-go-round that has become the managerial position, and then therefore the systems that they'll expect to be playing. I feel like it's a little bit too early for these guys to even know their ass from their elbow again. And part of me wants a bit like City with the cup situation. Like, they could probably do without this distraction to just start solidifying the league position a little more. So yeah, I unfortunately I can't go for anything other than a 1-0 Fenerbahce win at the moment.
Yes, we'll see how they play out the last like the second half of the season, because it'll be interesting to see what he focuses on. Obviously, the focus should be staying in the Premier League, but whether Mr. Marinakis might get a bit greedy and think, "Ooh, Champions League football." Ooh. So we'll have to see. So that's the midweek game, which takes us to Saturday, and the first of two fixtures. The first of which takes place at the MKM Stadium and is one of the early kickoffs. It's a 12:30 game. I believe it's on Sky Sports Plus, but let me just double check to see it's not the Sky Sports main game. It is indeed Sky Sports Plus. So it's Hull City versus Queen's Park Rangers. I can only assume there's no reason why you wouldn't be going to this.
Nope. As you well know, we are out on Friday night, and I am getting a very late train back to Hull on Friday night into Saturday morning, just so that I can make sure I can get to the game with it being an early kickoff.
Very good, very good. I will make sure you don't have too much fun on Friday night. I've gone for a 2-0 home win. Queen's Park Rangers are one of those teams that just don't seem to be able to find any form. It's very much up and down. They win one, they lose a couple, and stuff like that. So I've gone for Gelhardt and Dowell as my 2 goal scorers for Hull.
Okay.
What have you gone for?
As Paul says, QPR are seemingly the Bristol City of London teams. We either trounce them or they trounce us. There is no in between. I've actually gone for a Hull win though, but it's I've gone 2-1. Gelhardt and McBurney for Hull, and I have gone for Hayden for QPR.
Gelhardt, McBurney. Let me just double check. Is that? I believe that's Isaac Hayden. Yeah. Don't know why I'd need to know his first name, since I'm just writing down his surname. We continue with the Saturday flavoured games, and it takes us to, as I mentioned before, Middlesbrough versus Oxford United, and a chance for Borough to rewrite the ship, so to speak, after that disappointing defeat at Coventry. Should have obviously said they were obviously nailed on to lose the game, because 1, it's Middlesbrough versus Coventry, and 2, Kim Hellberg was named Manager of the Month mere days before this game. Alan Brown was also named Player of the Month for the Championship. So, just basically take all of your sort of black magic and dark arts and bad form and bad luck and stuff like that, and just basically sprinkle it all over the Borough squad for that particular game. Let's hope they can right it against Oxford United in a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Obviously, it's my team, so I'll give my prediction last. So let's go to Stu for his thoughts on Middlesbrough versus Oxford.
Well, I hope they can reverse it. I should add to that as well. Charlie Hughes was also nominated for January Player of the Month. So even the nomination's taking a hold now. As like I say, he didn't even get in the side against Chelsea through the injury scare. So I've gone for Borough 3, Oxford 1.
Okay.
I've got Hackney, Conway, seeing as he's scoring again, and Brown. So get rid of the juju. And I've got Plaqueta for Oxford.
Przemyslav Plaqueta. Lovely. I'm in agreement somewhat. I have also gone for 4 goals, but I've gone for them all to be scored by Borough. I would like to think that this will be a bit of a, not revenge game by any means, but a very much a we need to get this one like right and stuff like that. So I've gone for a brace from Whitaker and a goal each, a first goal each, no less, for Morris and Sarmiento. Sarmiento came on against Cov, did it the post with a strike from the edge of the box, which looked like it was pretty good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him start on Saturday and hopefully get a goal. We move to Sunday, where Sunday's game sees the Nottingham Forest taking on Liverpool. Now, obviously, if he was here, Mr. Mull will point out that the last two times that Forest have played Liverpool at Anfield, they've come away with a win. Let's see if they can do the same against Liverpool at home this Sunday. Sadly, I don't think they will. I've gone for a 3-1 Liverpool win on this, sadly. Gone for Hutchinson to score for Forest, and a goal each for Wirtz, Ekatike and Chiesa. What have you gone for?
I've gone Forest 1, Liverpool 2. It's annoying.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to be tainted when we hear from Matt and about the current state of things, but playing a team that are wanting to be sort of top four, never mind winning the whole thing, who are also constantly trying to get themselves back into some sort of form at a time when everything's mixed up within your own dressing room is not the one. But I've got Luca to score for Forest, and I've got Wirtz and Gakpo.
Selfishly, I don't want Gakpo to score because I've taken him out of my fantasy team now. So.
Well, then you know he's nailed on now, surely, Paul. Come on.
Yeah, pretty much. That is definitely the way that works. We also have a pair of midweek fixtures for mine and Stu's team. The first of which sees Hull City again at home, taking on Derby County. Boo. Going to this one?
Yep.
Because it's a midweeker, I'm assuming solo.
Mr. Walker may be accompanying.
Yeah, of course.
It'll depend on his work schedule, but having taken the lads to the last midweek game against Watford, firstly, it was terrible. And secondly, I think I paid for that for about 3 days afterwards. So they will be at home in bed for kickoff, I hope.
Very nice. I've gone for a 2-2 draw here. Derby seem to be quite good away from home for some strange reason. So I've gone for McBurney and Miller to score for Hull, and then Morris, because he's back, and Adjiman to score for Derby. What have you gone for?
The Hull seemingly hate playing against Derby unless it's a playoff game. So I've got us to lose 1-0 in a very similar fashion to what happened last season. The game will be crap. And I've got Sammy Smodics to score.
Oh, yes.
Because, again, a player that's been out of form, needing to find some form. Welcome to Hull.
Yes, sadly, that does have an awful flavour of inevitability to it, doesn't it? And our last game of the week sees my lot taking on Leicester City. This is Leicester that have recently been deducted points, which dropped them very dangerously close to the relegation zone. And after results at the weekend, they now find themselves in the relegation zone. They're 22nd. Obviously, this could all change by the time it comes to next week. But obviously, it is my team, so I'll give the last prediction of the week. So we'll go to Stu for his prediction on Middlesbrough versus Leicester.
Not just because of the points deduction, but seemingly just generally through play. That is a team in free fall. They are in a really tricky position at the moment because if you look at that side on paper, they're not even a bottom half side, let alone a bottom
top six
side.
Top six team.
But seemingly the force is not strong with them at the moment, as it were. So let's go for Borough 2-0. Okay,
scorers.
I'm probably gonna catch you off guard with the second one, but it's about time old Whitaker pulled his finger out of his backside again. And because I don't feel like I've had a random Borough goal scorer for a little while, I've gone for Target.
He has popped up a couple of times this season. And in the reverse fixture, it was 1-0 until about the 95th minute. And Luke Ayling popped up with a header in the dying minutes to salvage a 1-1 draw. So, wouldn't be surprised if we see a defender on the scoreline, on the score sheet again. Just for Leicester. They've obviously come off the back of wanting to see, whereas we never want to see Coventry again. Leicester have the same thing for Southampton. Found themselves 3-0 up against them last week and lost 4-3. Then played them again in the Cup at the weekend and lost 2-1. So I think for their sake, I think we need to have no more Leicester versus Southampton games. Otherwise, the players might actually spontaneously combust.
You just need to change your red and white to stripes for one game, and you'll be sorted.
Yeah, just see if we can borrow just like nip 30 odd miles down the road, borrow some Sunderland strips for the weekend.
That'll go down real well.
Oh yeah, lovely. Yeah, lovely. I'm in agreement. I've also gone for a win. I've gone 2-1. However, I've gone for Conway and Strelec as he's back from injury. He's been given a couple of minutes here and there to get him back used to playing football. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him given a half or maybe a little bit longer. And then I've gone for Monga to score for Leicester. A nice, quick, speedy one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of the podcast. Unless Mr. Woodmansey has got anything he'd like to bring from a delectable flavour.
No, we've had a very quiet week on Humberside, as it were. So
yes,
nothing to report.
Yeah, obviously the only thing from a Borough perspective was that fact that Hellberg and Brown had won Manager and Player of the Month, but obviously we covered that in the fact that it was the reason why they lost against Coventry. So yes. So as we're at the end, it just leaves me to thank both Mr. Woodmansey and you, the viewers and listeners, for joining us this week to go through the details of Middlesbrough and Hull's goings on with a little bit of Nottingham Forest thrown in for good measure. That's it for this week. Join us again next week where we'll go through those results. We'll bring you some more predictions for the following week's games. And you never know, there might even be a Nottingham Forest correspondent joining us. We just don't know. Ladies and gentlemen. But yes, thank you as always. We'll see you next week. Tatty bye for now.
So there we go. What's that? Short, sweet, but to the point. The way we like it. Yes, that's right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review. We can leave a review. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.